This short video is going to show the integration adapter between Optim Data Growth and Maximo Enterprise Asset Management. The first thing that we'll do is we'll open the Optim Data Growth tool. When you open Optim, it will be populated with several pre-built definitions for archiving assets, invoices, purchase requisitions, purchase orders, work orders, and workflow transactions. When we open the definitions, we'll see here we have access definitions, archive requests, column maps, insert requests, relationships, and other tools. These are imported using the adapter that comes with the product. The first thing that we will do is we'll open the workflow archive request. Within the archive request, there's some general information. The description tells you what we'll be archiving. We'll tell you the archive file that's generated. You'll notice this 6-digit sequence here will be appended to the file name for our version control. It tells you which access definition we're using. That's really the bread and butter of the archive process. It tells you what tables and relationships are used. We can defer deleting until after archive when we do some testing. Now we'll take a look over at the access definition itself. We need to connect up to our database. Here we're looking at the workflow access definition. Within the workflow access definition there are 6 tables. Some of the tables will be deleted after archive, including transactions, notifications, assignment, call stack, and instance, but some are just brought across as reference, such as the workflow process. We use selection criteria to select records from the tables. For example, for the workflow transactions, we're selecting records where the transaction date is before 3 years ago. How we find the related records for the workflow transactions is using relationships. Within the relationships, we have several relationships that will be traversed. They go child to parent or parent to child based on the selections of option 1 and option 2. And if we open up one of the relationships, we can see that they're doing a match between the parent of WF process and the child of WF assignment based on the process name, process revision, and sometimes there can be a match that's on a constant, such as the inactive in the status of the assignment. If we go back to tables, within the selection criteria for this record, we've selected a simple selection criteria of before 3 years, but we can also use a SQL statement to have much more complicated selection criteria expressed as part of the definition. When the access definition is complete, we can go back. We can click this running icon to run the archive job. We can also schedule it so that it runs once a week, once a month, once a quarter, however it meets our business needs. When we run the access definition, it's going to go through, traverse the relationships, and find the records. And it's going to produce a report for us with some statistics. In this archive process report, we have no errors, no warnings. It went through 6 tables, 130 rows. And if we take a look further down in the report, it tells us all of the tables that it went through. If we go down further and further, it actually spits out the exact where clause that was executed to find the related information, such as something that has a criteria that's date based on it. Once we generate this archive file, we can then use a utility within Optim called Browse. And we can actually open the file. Here are all the tables that are archived. And we can see the information about the individual transactions that are contained within the file, just to spot check and make sure that we've got the right information. The information that gets populated into Optim as part of the adapter comes from a text file. There's a utility called import. You browse to a text file that looks like this one. Within the text file itself, it tells you the access definitions it's creating, the different tables that are within that access definition, all of the selection criteria. It will define out all of the relationships, table maps, indexes, and we do create a restore request as well that brings the data back into a database for reporting or offline application access.